Hello and welcome to another update video on Bitcoin. So in this video we want to take a little look at the structures in a little bit more depth. This is one of the videos in which I explain a little bit more about Elliott Wave, the sentiment behind it, and the structures when I explain them. It's kind of a video series we're starting here on this channel, which I've already received quite positive feedback. So this is more for beginners as well, not only. It's for everybody basically who wants to learn Elliott Wave, because normally the analysis updates, they are very technical, fast, rapid market updates. That's what we do on this channel. But what we also do from time to time now is to upload videos that provide a little bit more depth, explanations, educational commentary, so that also those who are very willing to learn about the structures and the thought process behind it, get what they need to understand everything a little better. Okay, so what we want to do in this video, take a look at the daily chart first. This is obviously the overall context for Bitcoin, very, very important. Yeah, I mean, the idea is still that we are in this uptrend in a bull market that started in November 2022. We have this 5-wave move to the upside. I mean, that's always what we want to see from an Elliott Wave point of view. We're always looking for the 5-wave pattern. Because this is the trending pattern. It tells us that the trend is up, and if we see 5 waves in the subwave structures, then, for example, 5 waves up, yeah, then the idea is that the trend will continue to go higher, especially if pullbacks are corrective. Just an example, we had here in the beginning, November 2022, a 5-wave advance, yeah, and then a 3-wave pullback. That was the setup for higher prices. I mean, on this channel here, we were bullish even before. I think I was already looking for a reversal in June 22. That was way before you could say the mainstream was thinking about a reversal. This was when Bitcoin was dead again. That being said, most Elliott Wave analysts that I know were looking for reversals in that area. And again, that shows the power of Elliott Wave. While this was a little bit too early, it was very, very close to the low, and overall, this is where, from a sentiment point of view, again, Bitcoin was dead again, and most people couldn't even imagine that Bitcoin would go up again. Not in this environment, recessions, interest rates. You remember all of that, yeah. But again, it is worth to be a contrarian. Not always, but when the structure allows to. Okay, this is also why, and some of you might not know this, why I was quite bearish on Bitcoin in November, December 21, where a lot of people were still bullish. And again, that's not me being bearish and bullish. It's because the data suggested it, okay? So I can always only go with what the data tells us. And if up here, the data told us that we should lean bearish, we're going to do it. If the data down here tells us we should lean bullish, we should do it. Okay, at least I am doing it. We're just following what the market is telling us. That's the power of Elliott Wave, right? It's you basically overcome your bias, because you just list. There's no need to assume anything. The market will always tell us what's going on, and that's great. And then, when we can track these 5 waves, then we have further confirmation. So we had here a 5-wave move up, 3-wave pullback. And then the 3rd wave, by the way, is usually the strongest wave in a cycle. So we had that 3rd wave. Then we had a 4th wave. A lot of people said here, bear market already unfolding. But Bitcoin never broke support. Just very, very briefly, it broke the first support, but it was only a wick. And that's exactly when the bias turned up. So actually, support never broke. Because if you get a wick below support, that's actually the bias turning up, okay, if it then recovers. So support held, and it was a 4th wave, at least that's the wave count. Again, Elliott Wave suggested here, yeah, because we're looking for the 5-wave pattern. And then from here in August, the 5th wave started to unfold. Actually, Bitcoin has formed a pretty perfect Elliott Wave pattern, 5-wave move up from the November 22 low. And I mean, I sometimes read comments of people who say that Elliott Wave doesn't work in crypto. I mean, nothing could be further from the truth. From all the assets I'm covering, really all of them, maybe together with gold, Bitcoin has formed the most beautiful impulse. Okay, gold hasn't even formed an impulse, but Bitcoin has formed the clearest, most beautiful pattern, okay, out there, better than the S&P, better than the Nasdaq, better than most stocks I'm following. Yeah. By the way, some of you might not know this, that I also do stock analysis, S&P, Nasdaq. That's happening on our More Trading Online channel. There's also a stocks membership for all these indices. So if you're interested in that, check it out. They are linked in the description as well. But yeah, to just compare it, I mean, Bitcoin has formed the most beautiful one. And then the most recent focus has obviously been on this 5-wave move up here from the August 2024 low. With a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3. See, this could have been the top already, but I've always marked it only with a question mark. Something I've learned over the years is that you do not want to assume that a top is in until we get evidence. That was my approach here in 2021 as well. So we needed to see a break of support in 5 waves to confirm the bear market is over. Now, there have been a lot of people who already confirmed the start of the bear market again here at the low. Same people who did it here. Okay, so that's just fair enough. Everybody's got their own opinion. So, and again, I'm not saying, you couldn't listen to someone's opinion. You surely can, but you need to understand when it is backed by data. So it's really analysis, or it is simply an opinion. So if someone tells you, I think the bear market has started, then this is not analysis. If someone says, okay, I don't know, from an Elliott Wave point of view, it would be a break of support in 5 waves. So that's the first confirmation the bear market has started. That's something different, okay? Or they might use another method of analysis. So it's obviously not all Elliott Wave. You can analyze markets in different ways, even though in my view there's nothing that's giving us more clarity than Elliott Wave. But again, that's just my opinion. But yeah, again, it's about understanding the difference between opinion and is it backed by data. And then obviously you need to understand if someone calls for a bear market and some support level is broke, but they've used the wrong wave count, that's also another problem, right? Well, in this wave count here, our wave 4 support held. So I don't know, I've seen some other Elliott Wave counts where key support levels broke, not on my chart, okay? So I can only assume that probably the wave count there was not 100% correct, because if key supports broke and the bear market is already confirmed and then we make another high, that wave count wasn't correct, okay? And that's one of the problems where people say Elliott Wave doesn't work. Yeah, because they see wave counts and then they get broken and then someone confirms something and then the price still makes another high. So I always recommend, that's a tip, to first of all understand if that person doing the count can actually do counting, because that takes a lot of experience. And there are good Elliott Wave counters, analysts out there, but make sure that you understand that person's experience and everything. The other thing is, there's not the perfect count. So even if there is a break of support, you want to have that further confirmed by the next rally, because it's always the first decline that sets the stage. So even if someone says, okay, it's likely the bear market has started, but let's see that there should be a rally anyway. Let's see if that next rally is corrective in nature and holds the lower high. So there would be a resistance area. At the latest, when that resistance area gets broken, the person needs to change their view and say, okay, it's probably going to go for another high. So they might change from, okay, I assume a bear market has started, to we get another high as an alternative, but you cannot rule out that one more high. And then you focus on higher anyway, because there should be a bounce anyway, okay? And then you focus on higher until support breaks again. And then if support breaks again, you have 2 levels of confirmation, okay? Anyway, for now, trend is still up. So far, the idea is still that we're in a bull market, and the 130K level is still my ideal target. And we're tracking higher prices in 2 wave counts here. And again, the move up from the August low is seen as an ending diagonal. Ending diagonals are 5-wave patterns. And in the 5-wave patterns, the subwaves are corrective. So in an impulse, there are 5 waves. Yeah. In the subwaves, in a diagonal, you have 3 waves. So it would be like, for example, in the third wave, then you have an ABC structure. So in the fifth wave, I'm tracking an ABC. Question I always get, why do you have ABC structures? It's because the third wave is an ABC and the fifth wave has to be as well. The first wave, you don't see it that well because it was very small, as they often are in crypto. Wave ones are often very, very small, especially in crypto. So that means we're tracking for a potential pullback in this B wave. Doesn't mean this has to happen. I explained, I think, a couple of videos ago how to scale into the support area here. I'm not going to do that again now because this would be very repetitive. It's already a long video. But please note that also here on the way up, there are a couple of scenarios, both bullish because we're still, larger degree, looking for a rally to 130K. And there's one pathway in which we get this deeper pullback. We can watch the support area here between 81,340 and 95,840. So again, if we take the length of the entire move, the A wave, which can be a 5 or a 3 wave move, and measure the Fibonacci retracements, this is the box that comes up as key support. Doesn't mean we ever have to test it, but it means that as long as we're holding above 81,340, there's no confirmation for a break of critical support on the daily time frame. It's the same situation as we had it here in August, where I had a support area and the wave count gave me the Fibonacci levels I needed to use. So it's the wave count itself is only a tool. And it was here, no, it was actually this one, 69K needed to hold, okay, which it did. So now it's 81K. And people always say it's so far away from support, right? Because I gave you guys that support area in August, not August, it was April. That support area here for April, for the April low already in December, January. All it tells us at the moment is the risk. So nobody should be surprised if that happens, because this is part of the scenario, yeah? And only if we get a break below it, that means something more bearish is playing out. At the moment, this tells us the risk. How far can we fall and still be in a bullish scenario? The yellow scenario allows for a more direct move to the upside, but then the bulls should turn up soon. But for further clarity, we then refer to the smaller time frame chart. This is our smaller time frame, right? Basically everything zoomed in. We're forming a potential local topping structure here. This is the pathway to that B wave I showed you into the support area, but everything zoomed in. Now, the smaller time frames aren't so predictive. They are more just for risk management. And again, to get the parameters, the levels. At the moment, the smaller time frame doesn't offer too much clarity, I have to say. So it's best to refer to context. But still, I, of course, track these for you guys. Yeah, I mean, the white scenario shows us the detailed count into that lower box. And it would be a B wave. And B waves are typically ABC structures. So we have this initial decline, which is an A wave, which might get another low. Then we have a B wave bounce that should happen. Again, the resistance area, any break here above 110,000 could indicate a low is already in. And then we could get a C wave decline afterwards. And then we have an ABC structure. So this would be the ideal pathway. Doesn't mean that we have to do this. As I said, on the smaller time frame, wave counts are very fragile. Use the parameters more like signals, not as predictions. Okay, so for example, if I get a break above that 110K level, it's a signal that the market is likely moving up. So it's about patterns, okay? It's about patterns that the market is following. But if those patterns get broken, new patterns emerge. So it's basically a signal. If we break through certain barriers, through certain things, then it tells us that, yep, the market is rather looking for higher, and that's a key signal, okay? It's not the wave count being wrong, it's a signal, okay? So that comes from the wave count. Now at the moment it's interesting because here on the very short time frame, on the shortest time frame here, we have a potential micro 5-wave move up. And that means maybe a low is already in. But we haven't even broken initial resistance that I shared yesterday at 105,965. And yes, we have a micro 5-wave move up, but honestly, it's not the cleanest 5 waves. So I do not trust it, and I do not necessarily assume a low is in already. It would still look best with another low, at least as long as we are below 105,965. So this is the resistance for this white fourth wave. I'm going to look for at least one more low as long as we stay below. Any break above means that the B wave has possibly already started. That's how I see it. I just don't trust this 5-wave move up, even though it's something to watch. It's something to keep in mind, but it's hardly reliable on this scale. It's too small, okay? But I have added already earlier today for our members here this micro support area and said, look, if we hold this 103,533, then there's still a chance to go higher, push higher from here, yeah? Because then you have maybe, this is something like an A wave up, a B wave down, and we go higher in wave C. But this could still be the wave 4, because as long as we don't break above initial resistance, that's a 4th wave. I think there's a good likelihood it extends like that. So again, the parameters are important. This is resistance for wave 4. But that's why I said we need a 5-wave move up above resistance to indicate a more substantial low is formed. So those are the parameters that we're tracking at the moment. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Today, we've got our member live stream running at 5 p.m. UTC. If you want to join the conversation, feel free to do it. Again, it's 5 p.m. UTC. For those who want to know how such a live stream is, you can check out yesterday's. As an exception, I've made it available to everybody. You'll find it on the channel. Also, the link is on our X profile, so check it out. It's one of the last posts here, and you can find the link. So yeah, check it out if you're interested. Also, if you want to get additional updates, you can follow us here on X, ask questions, and much more. So yeah, check it out. The link is in the description. Thanks so much. Bye bye.